I stand in the doorway of the community center, my hands trembling slightly as I adjust the collar of my one good shirt. The pastel blue streamers hang from the ceiling like hopeful whispers, and the tables are set with tiny plastic elephants and baby bottles filled with mints. Lauren squeezes my hand, her pregnancy glow making her look like something out of a dream I never thought I deserved. "You okay?" she asks, her voice soft with that gentle concern that first made me fall in love with her. I nod, though my stomach churns with the familiar anxiety of not belonging. These baby showers, these family gatherings, they're foreign territory for a guy who grew up with a mother who forgot my birthday 3 years running, and a father who vanished when I was 10 like smoke dissipating in winter air. But Lauren, she makes me believe I can learn to belong somewhere. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The guests filter in slowly. Lauren's nursing colleagues cluster near the gift table, chatting about shift rotations and difficult patients. My brother Greg arrives early, his work boots still dusty from the garage, and he gives me that half-smile that says he's proud but worried. He's always worried about me, ever since Dad left, and he had to become the man of the house at 15. "Nice setup," Greg says, surveying the decorations. "Very pink." "Blue," I correct him. "We're having a boy." "Right." He chuckles, but his eyes are scanning the room like he's looking for potential threats. That's Greg, always watching my back, even when I don't ask him to. Then Margaret arrives. Lauren's mother sweeps in, wearing her usual armor of pearls and disapproval, her eyes immediately cataloging everything that doesn't meet her standards. The community center instead of a country club. Store-bought cake instead of something from that fancy bakery she mentioned. Me instead of the investment banker she probably pictured for her daughter. "Ethan," she says, offering me a handshake that feels like handling ice. How rustic. Lauren's jaw tightens, almost imperceptibly. "Hi, Mom. Thank you for coming." I want to say something, anything, to break the tension, but the words stick in my throat like they always do around Margaret. She has this way of making me feel like that scared 10-year-old again, the one who wasn't worth staying for. "Where's the photographer?" Margaret asks, scanning the room. "Surely you hired someone professional for such an important occasion." "Maya's taking pictures," Lauren says, gesturing to her best friend who's already snapping away with her phone. "She's got a great eye." Margaret's smile could freeze summer. "Of course she does." I feel Lauren's hand slip into mine again, anchoring me. This is what I've learned with her, that love isn't about being perfect, or having enough money, or impressing anyone's mother. It's about showing up, staying present, choosing each other every day. The room fills with laughter and conversation, and for a moment, I almost forget about Margaret's cold assessment. Almost forget the voice in my head that whispers, "I don't deserve this happiness." Almost. The moment arrives when Lauren stands to give her toast. She's radiant, one hand resting on her rounded belly, the other holding a glass of sparkling cider. The room quiets, expectant smiles turning toward her like flowers following sunlight. "I just want to thank everyone for being here today," Lauren begins, her voice warm with emotion. "Ethan and I." "Actually," Margaret's voice cuts through the air like a blade through silk. "Before we celebrate, I think everyone deserves to know the truth." The room freezes. I watch Lauren's face transform from joy to confusion to something approaching horror. My own body goes cold, every nerve ending suddenly alert to danger I can't yet name. Margaret stands slowly, her pearl necklace catching the fluorescent light. She's no longer the disapproving but polite mother-in-law. She's something else entirely, a woman with a mission that feels personal and vicious. "Margaret, please," Lauren starts, but her mother raises a hand. "No, sweetheart, I've kept quiet long enough." Margaret's eyes sweep the room, ensuring she has everyone's attention. It's interesting, isn't it? The timing of this pregnancy, the way certain features develop in utero. My throat constricts. I feel like I'm watching a car accident in slow motion, helpless to stop the collision. "What are you saying?" Lauren's voice is barely a whisper. Margaret's smile is sharp enough to draw blood. "I'm saying that any mother worth her salt knows when something doesn't add up. The dates, the circumstances, and frankly, dear, this baby doesn't feel like family." The words hit me like a physical blow. The room erupts in uncomfortable murmurs, shifting chairs, the sound of someone's phone hitting the floor. I can't breathe, can't think, can't process what's happening. "You're out of line," Maya's voice cuts through the chaos, fierce and protective. But Margaret isn't finished. "I'm not saying anything that hasn't crossed other people's minds. Look at him." She gestures toward me like I'm evidence in a trial. "Look at this family. Does any of this make sense?" Lauren's face crumbles. "Stop. Just stop." "Mom, what the hell is wrong with you?" someone shouts. Maybe one of Lauren's cousins. But I'm not really hearing the voices anymore. I'm drowning in a familiar darkness, the same suffocating feeling I had when Dad's taillights disappeared down our street 15 years ago. The same certainty that I'm not worth staying for, not worth defending, not worth love. Greg appears beside me, his hand heavy on my shoulder. "We're leaving," he says quietly. But I can't move, can't process, can't escape the truth that's been hanging over me my entire life. That somehow, always, I'm not enough. Lauren reaches for me, tears streaming down her face. "Ethan, please, don't listen to her." But how can I not? When the woman who should want to protect her daughter's happiness would rather destroy it than accept me as part of their family. The room empties slowly, guests mumbling awkward goodbyes and avoiding eye contact. I stand there, watching our future crumble like sand through my fingers. The days after the baby shower pass, like scenes from someone else's life. I watch myself go through the motions, teaching my 7th grade English classes, grading papers, making dinner, but I'm not really present. I'm floating somewhere above it all, tethered only by the growing weight of doubt that Margaret planted in my chest like a tumor. Lauren tries. God, she tries so hard it breaks what's left of my heart. "Talk to me," she pleads on Tuesday night, reaching for my hand across the dinner table. "Please, Ethan, don't let her win." But when her fingers touch mine, all I can think about is Margaret's voice echoing in my head. Does any of this make sense? So I pull away, mumbling something about being tired, and watch Lauren's face crumble just a little more. That's when I know I'm becoming the man I swore I'd never be, the one who leaves without leaving, who abandons people while still sitting at their dinner table. Greg shows up Thursday evening without calling first, the way he always does when he senses I'm drowning. He finds me in the garage, pretending to organize tools I never use. "You look like hell," he says, leaning against the workbench. "Thanks for the pep talk." "What are you doing, Ethan? Really, what's the end game here?" I can't look at him. "I don't know what you mean." "Bullshit." Greg's voice is sharp now, cutting through my self-pity. "You're doing that thing where you disappear into yourself. Like when Dad left, and you wouldn't come out of your room for 2 weeks. The comparison stings, because it's true. I can feel myself retreating to that familiar place where the world can't touch me, where I don't have to risk being hurt again. What if she's right? The words escape before I can stop them. What if Margaret's right? Greg stares at me like I've lost my mind. "Are you serious? You think Lauren cheated on you?" "I don't know, maybe. People leave, Greg. They always leave." "Not everyone is Dad." His voice softens. "And Lauren isn't Mom." But that's the problem, isn't it? I can't tell the difference anymore between past and present, between the fear and the truth. Margaret's accusation has opened every old wound, every moment of being told I wasn't enough, wasn't worth staying for. That night, after Lauren falls asleep, I sit at my laptop and type "paternity test" into the search bar. The cursor blinks at me like a heartbeat, waiting. My finger hovers over the enter key. I think about Lauren's face when she talks about our son, how she glows with this pure, uncomplicated joy. I think about the nursery we painted together last month, the crib Greg helped me assemble, the tiny clothes folded in neat piles. Then I think about Margaret's cold certainty, The way she looked at me like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. I press enter. The search results flood the screen. Discrete paternity testing. Results in 24 hours. Know the truth. The truth. As if truth is something you can order online and have delivered like a pizza. But maybe that's exactly what I need. Something definitive. Something that will quiet the voices in my head once and for all. I bookmark 3 different websites before closing the laptop and climbing into bed beside Lauren, careful not to wake her. The kit arrives on a Tuesday in a plain brown envelope that looks like junk mail. I intercept it before Lauren gets home from her shift at the hospital, my hands shaking as I tear open the packaging. Inside, 2 cotton swabs, a plastic vial, and instructions that feel like a betrayal with every word I read. Sample collection is simple and non-invasive, the pamphlet explains in cheerful blue text. Simple. As if there's anything simple about stealing DNA from the woman you love because you can't trust your own heart anymore. Telling and preparing this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now, back to the story. I wait until Lauren's in the shower that evening. The sound of running water covers the soft click of the bathroom door as I slip inside, my chest tight with guilt and desperation. Her toothbrush sits in its ceramic holder, innocent and unaware of what I'm about to do. My reflection in the mirror looks like a stranger, hollow-eyed, defeated. The man staring back at me is someone I don't recognize, someone who sneaks around and doubts the best thing that ever happened to him. But Margaret's voice echoes in my head. Does any of this make sense? I scrape the swab against the bristles of Lauren's toothbrush, then against the inside of my own cheek. The cotton comes away with traces of saliva that will either confirm my worst fears or prove I'm the coward I already know I am. At work the next day, I can barely focus. During third period, Jeremy Morrison asks me the same question about metaphors 3 times before I snap at him to pay attention. The hurt in his eyes reminds me of myself at that age, confused, trying to understand a world that doesn't make sense. Sorry, I mumble, but the damage is done. I've become the teacher I swore I'd never be, the one who takes his pain out on kids who are just trying to learn. Lauren notices the distance growing between us. She tries to bridge it with small gestures. My favorite coffee in the morning, her hand on my shoulder when she passes my chair. Gentle questions about my day that I answer with grunts and half-truths. You're scaring me, she says Friday night, standing in the kitchen doorway while I pretend to grade papers. It's like you're disappearing right in front of me. I want to tell her everything, want to confess that I've violated her trust in the most fundamental way possible, but the words stick in my throat like stones. I'm just tired, I lie. Work's been crazy. She nods, but I can see she doesn't believe me. How could she? I'm lying to the woman carrying my child. At least, the woman I hope is carrying my child. The distinction tears at me like a physical wound. The results will come in 3 to 5 business days. I've never wished time would stop moving as much as I do now. The email arrives at 2:47 p.m. on a Wednesday while I'm eating a stale sandwich in the faculty lounge. The subject line reads, "Your DNA analysis results confidential." My finger hovers over the screen for what feels like hours before I finally tap it open. Probability of paternity, 99.97%. The words blur together as relief crashes over me like a wave, followed immediately by something infinitely worse. Shame so deep it feels like drowning. I am the father. Of course I'm the father. Lauren never gave me a single reason to doubt her, and I betrayed her trust anyway. I lock myself in the supply closet and cry like I haven't since the night Dad left. Great, heaving sobs that feel like they're tearing me apart from the inside. The janitor's mop bucket becomes my confessional, as I whisper apologies to no one, knowing they'll never be enough. When I get home, Lauren's making dinner, humming softly while she chops vegetables. She looks up and smiles, and the sight of her face, trusting, loving, completely unaware of what I've done, makes me want to disappear into the earth. "How was your day?" she asks, the same question she's asked 1,000 times before. I almost tell her everything right then. The words sit heavy on my tongue, begging to be released. But what would I say? That I doubted the most honest person I've ever known because a bitter woman with her own demons convinced me to doubt myself? Fine, I manage. Just fine. That night, Greg calls while Lauren's at her prenatal yoga class. "You sound like death," he says without preamble. "Thanks for the concern." "Ethan." His voice carries that older brother authority that still makes me feel 12 years old. "What did you do?" The question hangs in the air between us. Greg always knows when I'm drowning, even when I try to hide it. "I took a paternity test," I whisper into the phone. Silence stretches between us for so long, I wonder if the call dropped. "Jesus Christ, Ethan." "I know." "And?" "I'm the father." Obviously, I'm the father. Lauren's never even looked at another man. "So what now? You gonna tell her?" The question I've been avoiding slams into me. What now? How do you confess to the woman you love that you doubted her so completely you violated her trust? How do you admit that you let someone else's poison seep so deep into your soul that you forgot who she was? "I don't know," I say. "Well, you better figure it out fast," Greg says, "because lies have a way of eating you alive from the inside." After he hangs up, I sit in our empty apartment, staring at the nursery door we painted robin's egg blue last month. Inside that room is a crib, a rocking chair, and a future I almost destroyed because I forgot how to trust and love. I'm grading papers when Lauren's car pulls into the driveway 3 hours earlier than expected. Through the window, I watch her sit in the driver's seat for a long moment, her hands gripping the steering wheel like she's trying to keep herself anchored to something solid. When she finally comes inside, her face is pale and streaked with tears, but there's something different in her eyes, something I haven't seen before, a kind of fierce clarity that makes my chest tighten with worry. "I went to see my mother," she says without preamble, dropping her purse by the door with more force than necessary. My pen freezes over a student's essay about courage. "How did that go?" Lauren laughs, but it's a sound without humor. "Oh, it went perfectly." Just like every conversation with Margaret goes, right off a cliff. She moves to the kitchen, her movements sharp and agitated. I follow, watching as she fills a glass with water and drinks it like she's been walking through a desert. "I demanded an explanation," she continues. "For the baby shower, for humiliating you, humiliating us. I told her she crossed a line that can't be uncrossed." What did she say? Lauren sets the glass down so hard I'm surprised it doesn't shatter. At first, the usual Margaret special. How she was protecting the family reputation. How she was just saying what everyone was thinking. How she's always had my best interests at heart. I can picture it perfectly. Margaret in her pristine living room, pearl necklace catching the light, delivering each justification like it was gospel truth. But then I pressed her, really pressed her, and you know what happened? Lauren turns to face me, and the pain in her eyes cuts straight through me. She cracked. "What do you mean?" "She told me something she's been hiding for 28 years. Lauren's voice drops to a whisper. "About my father, about who he really is." Quote, "The world seems to tilt sideways. Lauren, the man I grew up calling Dad? He's not my biological father. My real father was some guy my mother had an affair with when she was 22. A carpenter from the wrong side of town who didn't know about me and still doesn't." I feel like I've been punched in the chest. Jesus. 28 years of lies. 28 years of her lecturing me about family values and moral standards, and she's been living with this secret the entire time. Lauren's voice breaks. "Do you understand what this means? She attacked you, attacked our relationship, questioned our baby's paternity, all while hiding the fact that she doesn't even know who my real father is." I reach for her, but she steps back, holding up a hand. The worst part? When I asked her why she never told me, she said it was because she was protecting me from the shame. But then she turns around and tries to shame you publicly for something that isn't even true. Lauren slides down the kitchen cabinet until she's sitting on the floor, her head in her hands. "I don't know who I am anymore, Ethan. Everything I thought I knew about my family, about where I come from, it's all been a lie. I want to comfort her, want to tell her it doesn't matter, but the words stick in my throat. Because I'm sitting on my own lie, my own betrayal, and I don't know how to offer comfort when I'm drowning in my own guilt. Lauren sits on our kitchen floor, broken by her mother's revelation, and I know I can't hold my own secret anymore. The weight of it feels like it's crushing my ribs, making it impossible to breathe. She needs honesty from someone, and God help me, it has to be me. Lauren, I say, my voice barely above a whisper, I need to tell you something. She looks up at me through tear-blurred eyes, and I see the exact moment she realizes this isn't going to be comfort, this is going to be more pain. What? Her voice is flat, resigned, like she's already preparing for the next blow. I kneel down beside her on the cold kitchen tiles, my hands shaking. I took a paternity test. The words hang in the air between us like a death sentence. Lauren's face goes completely blank, and for a moment I think she didn't hear me. Then she blinks once, twice, and I watch understanding dawn across her features like a sunrise over a battlefield. You what? After the baby shower. After what your mother said. I couldn't stop thinking about it, couldn't stop hearing her voice in my head. So my voice cracks, I took a swab from your toothbrush. I sent it in without telling you. Lauren stares at me like I'm a stranger who just walked into her kitchen. You violated my privacy, you doubted me, you actually believed her. No, Don't you dare say no. She scrambles to her feet, backing away from me. You took my DNA without my consent because you thought I was lying to you about our baby. The accusation hits me like a physical blow because it's true. Every word of it is true. I was scared, I whisper. When your mother said those things, it brought back everything from when I was a kid, when my dad left. I started thinking maybe I wasn't worth staying for, maybe you. So you made it about you. Lauren's voice is ice. My pregnancy, our baby, my fidelity. You made it all about your childhood trauma, instead of trusting the woman who loves you. I want to defend myself, to explain how Margaret's words poisoned everything, but Lauren's right. I let my past dictate my present. I let fear win over love. What were the results? She asks, and her clinical tone scares me more than her anger. I'm the father. Obviously I'm the father. Obviously. She laughs, but it's the most heartbroken sound I've ever heard. Obviously you're the father of the baby you helped create with the woman who's never even looked at another man since the day she met you. I reach for her again, desperate. Lauren, please. No. She steps back, her hand protectively covering her belly. I can't do this right now. I can't look at you right now. Where are you going? To Maya's. I need space to think about whether the man I'm supposed to marry next month is someone I can actually trust with my life. She grabs her purse and heads for the door, pausing only to look back at me one more time. You know what the worst part is, Ethan? I would have understood the fear. I would have held you through it. But you chose secrecy over trust. You chose to investigate me like I was a suspect, instead of talking to me like I was your partner. The door closes behind her with a soft click that sounds like the end of everything. The apartment feels like a tomb without Lauren. I wander through rooms that smell like her lavender shampoo and jasmine lotion, touching surfaces that still hold the warmth of her presence. The nursery door stands ajar, and I can see the corner of the crib Greg helped me assemble, the mobile we picked out together spinning slowly in the draft from the heating vent. On Saturday morning, I drive to my old neighborhood. I tell myself I don't know why, but that's another lie I'm telling myself. I know exactly why I'm here. The house looks smaller than I remember, paint peeling from the shutters like old wounds that never healed properly. Mom's car sits in the driveway, a rusted Honda that's probably older than my relationship with Lauren. I sit in my car for 20 minutes before I find the courage to knock. She opens the door, looking exactly like I expected. Older, thinner, the lines around her eyes deeper, but sober. 3 years sober now, according to the last Christmas card she sent. Ethan, she doesn't seem surprised to see me. You look terrible. Thanks, Mom. Always with the compliments. She lets me in, and we sit in her living room, surrounded by AA medallions and motivational posters about taking life one day at a time. The irony isn't lost on me. So, she says, lighting a cigarette despite all the recovery literature scattered around. What's eating you? I tell her about Lauren, about the baby, about Margaret's accusation, and my cowardly response. I tell her about the paternity test, and how I destroyed the best thing in my life because I couldn't trust it. She listens without interrupting, and when I finish, she stubs out her cigarette and looks at me with something that might be sympathy. You know what your problem is, she says. You think love is something that happens to you instead of something you choose every day. That's rich coming from you. Yeah, well, takes one to know one, she shrugs. I spent your whole childhood choosing the bottle over you and your brother. Every single day I chose escape over presence. You think I don't know what that cost? I want to be angry, to throw her neglect back in her face, but I'm too tired. Too empty. The difference between us, she continues, is you still have time to choose differently. That girl of yours, she's still alive, still carrying your baby. You can still fix this. What if I can't? Then you live with it, like I do. Her smile is sad but genuine. But at least you'll know you tried. I drive home feeling something I haven't felt in weeks. Not hope exactly, but the possibility of it. Like maybe rock bottom is just another place to build from. Lauren comes home on a Tuesday evening carrying a small overnight bag and an expression I can't read. I'm sitting at the kitchen table with a letter I've written and rewritten 17 times, my hands shaking as I fold and unfold the pages. I got your message, she says, setting her bag down by the door. Thank you for coming back, for giving me a chance to. I didn't come back, Ethan. I came to talk. Her voice is steady but tired. There's a difference. She sits across from me at the table, and the space between us feels like an ocean. For a moment, neither of us speaks. Then she nods toward the letter in my hands. Is that for me? I slide it across the table. I needed to put it in writing first, to make sure I said it right. She unfolds the pages and reads silently. I watch her face for any sign of what she's thinking, but Lauren has always been careful with her emotions when she's protecting herself. The letter contains everything I couldn't say before, how Margaret's words triggered every abandonment fear I'd buried, how I let my past poison our present, how the paternity test wasn't about her, but about my own worthlessness, how I know sorry isn't enough, but it's where I need to start. When she finishes reading, she sets the letter down and looks at me for a long moment. Maya thinks I should leave you, she says quietly. My heart stops. And what do you think? I think. She pauses, her hand moving unconsciously to her belly. I think you're not the only one who's been carrying around damage from the past. Lauren. My mother spent 28 years lying to me about who I am, and instead of learning from that, I almost did the same thing to our son. I almost let her poison convince me that secrets are how families protect each other. She reaches across the table and takes my hand. It's the first time she's touched me since the confession, and I feel like crying from the relief of it. We're both broken, Ethan, but maybe we can help each other heal instead of breaking each other more. I want to try, I whisper. I want to choose love every day, not just when it's easy. It's going to take time. Trust doesn't rebuild overnight. I know. And we're doing counseling, both of us, together and separately. Whatever you need. She squeezes my hand. What I need is for you to stop seeing yourself as someone who isn't worth staying for, because I'm here, aren't I? Despite everything, I'm here. Quote. Later that night, we sit in the nursery together, not talking, just breathing the same air. The crib stands empty but waiting, like our future, uncertain but still possible. The contractions start at 3:17 a.m. on a Thursday in September. Lauren grips my hand so hard I think she might break bones, but I don't pull away. I've learned something about staying present through pain, about not running when things get difficult. This is it, she whispers between breaths, and I know she's not just talking about labor. The drive to the hospital passes in a blur of red lights and Lauren's breathing exercises. In the delivery room, surrounded by nurses and monitors and the controlled chaos of birth, I hold Lauren's hand and whisper things I should have said months ago. You're the strongest person I know, I tell her as another contraction peaks. I'm sorry I forgot that. Save the apologies for after, she pants, but she's smiling through the pain. At 6:43 a.m., Our son arrives with a cry that sounds like every hope I've ever had made audible. The doctor places him on Lauren's chest, and I watch her transform into something even more beautiful than before. A mother, fierce and radiant and completely herself. "He's perfect," Lauren whispers, tears streaming down her face. And he is. 10 fingers, 10 toes, a face that's somehow already familiar. When the nurse asks if I want to cut the cord, my hands shake as I take the scissors. This simple act feels like cutting away everything that came before, leaving only what matters. Later, when Lauren is sleeping and our son is wrapped in hospital blankets beside her bed, I write in the journal I've been keeping for him. It's something the counselor suggested, letters to my future self, to my son, to the man I want to become. "Today you were born," I write, "and I learned that love isn't something that happens to you. It's something you choose, every day, even when you're scared. Especially when you're scared." A knock at the door interrupts my writing. The nurse hands me an envelope with my name written in Margaret's careful script. Inside, a single sheet of paper. "I was wrong about everything. I hope someday you can forgive a foolish old woman who let her own shame poison what should have been joy. Congratulations on your son." I fold the letter and put it away without showing Lauren. Maybe someday we'll deal with Margaret, but not today. Today is about beginnings, not endings. As we drive home 3 days later, our son sleeping in his car seat, Lauren reaches over and takes my hand. "We did it," she says simply. "Yeah," I say, watching our future unfold through the windshield. "We did." And for the first time in my life, I believe that love, real, chosen, daily love, is something I'm worthy of. Something we can build together, one day at a time. Up next, we have 2 more incredible stories that are waiting for you. Just click the image you want to watch, and it will take you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. It would mean a lot.